Toasted sugar is a form of light caramel made by heating plain white sugar in a low oven for several hours. The result is a golden sugar that tastes less sweet, with a toasty caramel flavor that can range from light and subtle to dark and nutty. So this is some specific directions for toasting a 4-pound bag of sugar. I'm pretty specific about the amount of sugar and the pan size, and the reason is you can make a really big mess otherwise. So the key is to use a 9x13 glass or ceramic baking dish, not metal. If it's metal, it's gonna cook too fast around the edges and heat too much, and the sugar's gonna liquefy and turn to a very dark caramel around the sides, and we don't want that. So just spread it into kind of an even layer. If you see any lumps that are in the sugar, you can kind of mash them out, but they'll work themselves out over time anyway. Once that's done, I'm gonna pop it into a 300-degree oven, and I'm gonna let it go for 5 or 6 hours. This is the miracle of video, so you can watch it. You don't have to let it go that long. You can go anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, longer, shorter. 2 hours is what I consider a good minimum for a 4-pound bag of sugar. Water is produced as a byproduct of this transformation, so it's important to stir the sugar frequently and thoroughly to give the steam a chance to escape. Otherwise, the steam will be reabsorbed by the sugar, causing it to clump and harden or even melt. 4 pounds of heaviness. Okay. So when stirring the sugar, you can leave it in the oven. I'm taking it out so everyone can see really clearly how I'm stirring. This is not good enough. This isn't stirring the sugar, this is just kind of scraping it around. The goal is to get all of the really hot sugar from the edges away from the edges and into the middle, and the sugar that's not as hot in the middle towards the edges. So it's not just wiggling the spoon in there, that's not really enough. You want to really stir it around. So it's been 5 hours. It's very toasty. It's actually on the verge of wanting to start to clump and melt. The toastier the sugar gets, the more it needs stirring and the more the steam needs to escape. We want to cool the sugar to complete room temperature before we put it away for storage. As long as it's warm, it's a sign it may be holding on to some steam still, and that will cause it to clump and harden in storage. But as long as it's cooled completely and stirred so the steam can be released, then it will store granular and dry and easy to use. This is sugar that has been messed up in a number of ways. To show you what not to do at home. So the first thing you'll see with this sugar is that I toasted it in a metal pan, and metal conducts faster than glass or ceramic, and that means the sugar heats up faster, and it heats up faster around the edges. Around the sides you can see that there is a hardened line of caramel where the sugar melted too fast. The other thing that went wrong with this batch of sugar is that I didn't stir it at all. I just threw it in the oven and forgot about it. And you can see it's very toasty, even all the way through, not just on the surface, but it also looks a little wet. So steam is being released by all of the sugar throughout the pan. But if you don't stir it, that steam has no place to go, so the sugar just absorbs it right back up. And that makes it sticky and poorly textured, a little bit clumpy. And also, if I dig back, you can see that there's a melty layer on the bottom too, where it has been able to start to liquefy a bit. Altogether, this sugar is still totally usable and will be delicious, and I'm excited that I have it, but there's also going to be a lot of waste because when I pour it out of the pans, it's going to stick really badly. We can fix it, don't worry. Take the hot sugar while it's hot, you can't wait for it to cool, and pour it into a big bowl. And scrape up as much as you can. You don't want anything that's actually molten coming out, but you want to save all the sandy sugar. You can salvage that. I'm going to pour it back onto a sheet pan and then just spread it back out into an even layer. And that's just giving more surface area, so any steam that's trapped inside the sugar can have a chance to evaporate. Steam dissipate, steam will dissipate. And once it's fully cool at room temperature, then I'll transfer it to an airtight container and it can be used like normal. Basically, you can use toasted sugar in any recipe that calls for white sugar. It's a great way to reduce sweetness and add complexity to your favorite recipes.